Well, everybody, guess what time it is again? It is time for a podcast. I haven't done one of these in a minute. It has been a minute since I've done one of these. Yep, actually, like a year, over a year and a half. Oh man, it has been a while. I guess we're starting things off here with like a new style. Well, I guess it'd be kind of similar. I don't really know. I want to bring the podcast back. I'm just trying to do new content again, I guess. This one's gonna be, I guess, a little bit of a forewarning. This one's gonna be more of like a ranty based one, just because of I don't know, just kind of, it's gonna be kind of talking about the current situation that I'm in, and I'm kind of gonna be ranting a little bit, that's for sure. So, if you're not really prepared for a relatively depressing or ranty kind of, I guess, like more like a, not necessarily a self-therapy for myself, but more of just like a, I guess just lots of ranting and frustrations. If that's not really your thing, probably not the podcast for you. Go ahead and click off. But for anybody else who is interested, you can go ahead and stick around. I don't know how long I'll be ranting, but you know, I guess it's good to get some things off my chest here. So, if you don't know me, my name is Zeez. I've been a creator on YouTube since 2018, which I guess is, 8 years now. It's kind of crazy. I think it's not quite 8 years. It's almost 8 years though. And I think around 7 years since I actually started taking it somewhat more seriously. Maybe more like 6.5. I'm not sure. I'll actually have to look into the specific dates. But I guess I've had a pretty interesting YouTube journey so far. It hasn't really gone the way I expected, but I guess I'll give you a little bit of a rundown into kind of what my history is real briefly. So from 2018 to 2022, I believe, those 5 years, I mainly just kind of focused on gaming content. I was doing Let's Plays on my gaming channel, just variety-based content. Didn't really get much attention, maybe like 1,500 subscribers within the first 4 years of doing YouTube. Not much attention, right? But I had a lot of fun, learned quite a few things. And then I think my first time where I actually started getting some traction was when I started making Owl House and Amphibia content in 2022, I believe. And then I did that for about 2 years or so, and I was able to get 100k subscribers on Zeez G2, my second channel. Again, that's another thing about my YouTube career is I've had too many channels, way too many. But I won't get into it too much. It's mostly just for algorithm things. YouTube's all about niches. Each channel has its own niche. That's kind of why. So I did that, got about 100k subscribers. Although, even though I have my silver play button for that channel, I've never actually opened the silver play button because I don't feel like I've earned it yet. I was really I only got that off of a trend, and if I tried to make videos as consistent now, they'd probably get barely any views on that channel. I could probably revive it with a new type of series, but that would definitely take quite some time, maybe like 3 months or so. And then after that, funnily enough, on this podcast, I actually talked about it. While I was after Amphibious and Owl House, those shows ended. They were cartoons, mind you, if you don't know what that is. I started picking up a game called Identity 5, just when I was doing regular standard gaming streams in the background. Because that's something I've always done. I've always kept up the gaming, always done gaming the whole time. It's always been a passion of mine. But I picked up a game. It's a live service game called Identity 5. It's like very similar to Dead by Daylight. Have you ever heard of that game? It's like a 4v1 asymmetrical game where you got like 4 survivors versus 1 hunter, and it's a lot of fun, right? It's a lot of fun. So I made a secret channel dedicated to that back in like 2023, I believe, and I didn't tell anybody. I actually said on the podcast, I forget which one it was, but I was talked about on this podcast that I had a secret channel that I was trying to grow, and then I didn't want to tell anyone about it because I wanted to grow the channel organically. And, luckily enough for me, I actually was able to become one of the biggest creators in that space for Identity 5. I became one of arguably the biggest Identity 5 content creator for the English speaking community, specifically for the English community. The game is much bigger in Asia, super big in China. I'm a speck, basically, compared to the people over there. But, in the space of like the NAEU region, I was one of the top creators, which was pretty cool. But recently, the game started using generative AI, and there are lots of other issues, with the game as well. And to make a long story short, after becoming one of the top creators, I have quit due to this. A lot of members of the community are boycotting the game because obviously generative AI is not something that we want in our game, but it is owned by NetEase. I'm sure you've heard of them. They own stuff like Marvel Rivals and whatnot. If you haven't heard of them, they're just a big Chinese company, really, really big one. The CEO is a billionaire, fifth richest man in China, used to be the richest man in China. So, they're all about the money, right? They're all about the money, as the big CEO guys are. So, of course, with AI being the biggest thing in the economy right now, that everybody's looking to do it, including gaming companies, and especially with live service games, with how much content and how much their staff is pushed to work hard. They want to try to cut some corners with some Gen AI, and unfortunately, I think the English-speaking community has been very, very vocal about it, but to keep another long story short, because the game is so small in English-speaking areas, it doesn't really seem like it's had much of an effect. It's the biggest in China, and there were quite a lot of complaints in China, not so much from Japan. I think Japan, it's also quite big, but Japan is very, unfortunately, pro-AI, so they didn't really care that much from what I've seen, at least. But China was pretty anti-AI for a while, but it was more of a trend, and so it kind of died down. And now the boycott kind of has been going on for about, I think like a month and a half now. And it's kind of sad because my biggest revenue source as a full-time content creator was my Identity5 channel. I would think about like 80% of my revenue, 85% of my revenue came from that channel. And now I just kind of have to throw it away. It sucks because I really enjoyed the game. I was very, very passionate about it. I worked very, very hard every single day. And it was very sad that, a channel that I've put so much time and effort into growing, I just have to throw away. And it's also quite sad because, I guess, without getting too deep into it, the community for Identity5, I've always described as one that is very, what's the word I'm looking for here? Dynamic isn't the right word, but basically it's really, it's very toxic, but it's also very supportive at the same time. I feel like that's the case for a lot of different communities. There's lots of toxicity in any community that you're going to go into, but IDV is one that's, I guess the right word is maybe performative a lot of the time. I don't know. There's a lot of rage bait. There's a lot of moral grandstanding in the community, and there has been for a very long time. And people will hate on you in that community for literally anything. Like, if you're bad at the game, they're going to hate on you. They're going to hate on you for so many different things. And, as one of the bigger creators from the said community, I ended up getting a lot of that hate, which was really, really annoying. And that was something that kind of was like just kind of really taxing to my mental for a very long time. And I've been thinking about quitting the community for a long time because even though I was passionate about the game, the toxic people really, really, really affected me. I for the last month or so, I just kind of been thinking about what to do on YouTube now since, there hasn't been any word from the company on their stance of, generative AI. And, I don't think there will be, if I'm being completely honest with you. It seems like they really don't care. Yeah, it really does not seem like they care. And from what it seems like the company has no interest in stopping AI and has been wanting to push AI before a lot of other people. They've been trying to do it since the early 2020s. Like, NetEase has been like just dying to use AI since the early 2020s to put it into like all their stuff. And now they're finally getting around to that point where they're starting to use it. And now they're just facing a lot of backlash. And I mean, right now it looks like there's going to be no response from the company. And that's kind of my deal breaker, that's my deal breaker. And it's unfortunate because I've made a lot of friends in the community as well, but also some of those friendships has fallen through just because of other things that have happened. I guess it's been a very interesting journey, but also been a bit of a depressing one because, yet again, one of my biggest fears that I talked about on this podcast is, it's another reason why I guess the right word is like, maybe not so much loneliness, but I guess it's like a fear of, I don't know. I need to actually explain this before I talk about what the feeling is behind it. Basically, collabing with other creators is fun, and I love doing it, but it has two potential really, really bad things if the person you collabed with is bad. One, well, I guess there's a lot of different things now I think about it, not just two. But one, you can get, I guess, gosh, there's so many things to talk about briefly. Whoever you associate with, you're obviously, by association on the internet, you are going to have to, make public statements about that person. Let's say, like for example, if your collaborator did something really, really bad, got canceled, right? Obviously, it should have been canceled. Let's say it was just something really bad. It should have been canceled for it. You have to be like, okay, I have to cut ties with that person, Which is fine. That part's like whatever. But it also hurts, and I don't think like people realize that, is that it hurts to have like trusted a person and then to be like betrayed and be like, oh wow, they were never what I thought they were. That feels really bad. And I think people just assume it's so easy to just cut people off just like that. And like, yes, it's easy to cut them off, but it still hurts. I think that's what people forget, is it's just like, oh, you can't just go back to normal. It still hurts. And it's like there are some really weird cases as well where, somebody has done something bad, but they still stay around. I think that's very common in many communities where like people are very toxic or like very not good people and they're still in like a community. There's a spider on my wall. Hey, spider. And it's really unfortunate, like when you have been friends with that person in the past and then you have to condemn them and then you get like, I don't know, it's really awkward because then it just, that you were friends and then it's just like, oh, well, because you did this thing, we can't be friends anymore, And that's kind of sad, it's just kind of sad. That's one thing that's really sad. And it also just completely tarnishes all the content that you've made with them. So so many old videos of my IDV videos do feature like some problematic people that I didn't know were problematic beforehand. And it really sucks to like look at a video that I was proud of and then it just to be ruined and tainted by that person. And there's a lot of videos like on my channel that are like that. And it's really depressing, because there's so much potential for like interesting, fun things to happen when it comes to collabing with other creators. But there's a lot of bad things that can come from it as well. Like it just taints so many things when another creator is involved and they turn out to be problematic. And that just feels so bad. It really, really does. There are so many videos like of mine that are just tainted. And I've even privated so many of them, and it's just like, it's depressing, man. It really is. And it just makes me being scared of like collabing with people. And it's just, I also get sad because then it's like people will reach out to me and they're like, hey, I'd like to collab, or I'd like this, or I'd like that. Let's do this. But I'm so scared. So a lot of time I'm just like, okay, I just don't want to. It's just not worth the risk. And then you get complaints about people being like, oh, you think you're too good for me. You think like, oh, he's a bigger content creator. He doesn't have time for the smaller content creators. And it's like, no, I'm just scared. I don't know. It's annoying, dude. It is annoying. I met so many cool people. I was put into their official content creator program. I was even able to go to Japan, by the way. I had a whole video planned for that. That's probably never going to come out. But I even got to go to Japan as an opportunity because of that. And I thought that was so cool. And it's just, I have to just throw it all away now. It's pretty sad. What I was saying earlier though was my date for guarantee leaving is August, because that is when their next quarterly financial report comes out. And if there is no statement or mention of the use of Gen AI in their quarterly finals update, then I'll leave. I don't know if I've said that to my community, but in August, I think by the end of August, if there's no statement, then I'm guaranteed gone, and with no chance of ever coming back, basically, which is sad because I think there's still a lot I wanted to do with the game and so many plans. Like I had so many plans, so many ideas. I like all this stuff that I've built up for years, and it just came crashing down in an instant. For like I said, long story short, I was able to get 57,000 subscribers on this IDV channel for the past 2-ish years. I'll go ahead and look. I want to see what the total amount of views are. So we got 57.1k subscribers and a total view count of 22 million views, or 22.5 million views. And that started in 2023, September of 2023. So, nearly 3 years, more closely to 2.5, right? 22.5 million views, and I just kind of have to throw that entire thing away now. All that I've worked for, I got to throw it away. And it's quite a shame. It really is quite a shame. I'm stumbling a lot here, but it is quite a shame. So that's kind of been where I've been at as a creator. And 1.2k videos, by the way, 1,200 videos, probably more actually, because I think I've privated 50 to 100 videos, so maybe even 1.3k videos. Think about that. Over 1,000 videos. I think that includes live streams as well. But even then, over 1,000. Think about that, dude. Over 1,000 videos. And by the way, I'm solo. That was completely solo. I don't ask anybody for help. I don't have any editors. I've never had any editors in my entire time on YouTube. I've done 99.999% of the work on YouTube all by myself. I've obviously had some collaborators on, but when it comes to getting the videos edited and whatnot, that's all been me. And then I've commissioned 5 thumbnails before. That's it. Everything else has mostly just been my creations, outside of a few commissioned artworks, from Dulce and whatnot. And then a few commissioned artworks just from a final project that I did for IDV. So it's kind of sad to have built up something, have been so passionate about it, and then just kind of have that ripped away from you. And not just that, not just have the passion ripped away from you, but also the money as well. And so it kind of feels bad for me right now, because I've had that passion and now my finances have been ripped away, and I have to build something up again from the ground up. And luckily I have a good amount of savings, but I can't wait for too long. The problem is I don't really have a lot of passion right now. And it really sucks, because this is where I'm about to transition to kind of the internet landscape as a whole. And also, I guess my dreams of becoming a content creator. Because I've wanted to be a content creator ever since I was 10. I saw people making videos online. I watched Maryland Pokemon videos, tons of different videos online. I was I want to do that. I want to be a video content creator. I was always the kid holding the camera growing up. That was always me. I was always the one holding the camera. I was always never the one in the photos. I was always the one taking the photos. Growing up through Boy Scouts, I always had a camera on me, a little Canon camera. Brought it everywhere. Always recorded videos. Always took pictures. I've been in love with making, and filming things since a very, very young age. And I would even film stuff on my 3DS. And I was never particularly good at it. I wouldn't really call myself a professional videographer or anything like that, but I was always passionate about it. That's what I mean. I was always very, very passionate about creating videos. And during my senior year of high school, I didn't get into any of the colleges that I wanted to. And without getting into it, my family did not set me up that well for college. Again, it's a very long story and it's quite private. I won't really get into it, but I was not properly set up by my family to actually get into a college in the first place. So I was in community college for a couple of years, and that was about it. And then I dropped out of community college to focus more on YouTube, because that was my passion. And I had a job at the time. I was working 10 hours a day, and I was doing content creation and all the other hours that I was awake. I was working basically every single hour that I was awake. Didn't matter when. It was 10 hours at work, at the Petri dish factory, and then whenever I got home, it was recording time or editing time. That's all I would do. That's how I lived for 2 to 3 years. It was just 10 hours a day or 8 hours a day, depending on what day it was. I worked a lot of hours. And then the rest was just spent doing content creation or grinding for content creation. For example, when I'm doing video game content, I have to grind in video games. So it's like, maybe it's not really a job to you, but for me, it was like, I have to grind so that, like, I have to get this grind done tonight so that I can record this tomorrow. Like, for me, it was work. You know, for example, like, let's say Pokemon, for example. Very rarely it was Pokemon, but let's say like, oh, I need to grind up all my Pokemon to level 15. Or let's say it's like, well, level 40. Like, we're going from level 35 to 40. I have a team of 6. I have to grind them all from level 35 to 40. That's going to take like an hour and a half, right? If I have to record tomorrow, I have to get that grind done. So for me, that was work. I had to get it done that day. It wasn't like I can just casually play it whenever, you know? That wasn't how I treated it. Like, video gaming to me, I guess that's another thing I'll talk about. Video gaming is a job now. Like, that's just how it is. I treat it like a job. I don't play games for fun anymore, very rarely. If there's ever a new game that comes out, I can't play it until I can stream it. And I think like that is also like a little bit of a problem. And I think there's definitely people out there that are like, don't do that to yourself. Don't turn it into that. But that's like, I've done that for years now. I don't really know any other way. Like, I grew up as a gamer and I played games for fun, but I don't really play games for like fun all the time, you know? I guess on occasion I do, but it's usually games that aren't really like a single player narrative or something like that. If it's a single player narrative game, I can't do that on itself. But if it's something like, you know, Super Smash Bros., that I could play on its own. It was IDV that I could play on its own because, you know, it's just the game. And it's just like, there's a gameplay loop of just like playing matches, you know? If it's a game that just has matches, sure, that I can play. But if it's a single player focused narrative that has a story or something, you know, I can't stream it and then go play a little bit off screen because I'm bored. Then come back 2 chapters later, the chat's gonna be like, what the heck? Well, we wanted to see you play the other 2 chapters. What the heck, bro? Ow, my elbow. So that's another whole thing entirely with like, you know, the gaming specific thing. Yeah, like I was saying, I would just work at my job. I'd come back. I'd record, I'd edit, and that was like what I did. I was very, very passionate. I'd just keep on creating. And then I did that with my cartoon channel, and I did that with IDV as well. And it kind of sucks because what I've noticed between these transitions, this is what I would say I'm in right now. I'm in a transition period. The transition periods are the worst. Until I can find something new that I can focus on and be passionate about, I'm kind of just like, I just kind of feel like I'm going through every single day just kind of somewhat depressed, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. It was kind of the same thing when Owl House and Amphibia kind of went down. I noticed that my views were going down. And then that's when I found IDV and I got passionate about IDV and I saw a growth and I put my nose to the grindstone and did it. And I committed to it, you know? I committed to it because I thought it was fun. And now, right now, I have nothing that I feel like I want to commit to. Like, I have 2 things in mind, like Pokemon or Fire Emblem and stuff like that. But it's like, I also might want to do like cooking as well. I might want to like really take up cooking and get really serious at it because cooking is like the biggest niche that you can get into and that could get me successful. But also, I don't think I have a very good palate. I'm still not a very good cook. And I guess it'd be interesting to like see like the process of learning. But again, my palate sucks. That's the problem. My palate sucks and I'm colorblind. And colorblindness has always challenged me, at least when it comes to cooking meats and whatnot. I know I'm kind of ranting here, but colorblindness, I'm red-green colorblind, so it really makes cooking difficult to tell the colors of certain things sometimes. I've always been really bad at cooking meat specifically. I can never really tell when like things are like rare, medium, done, well done. Like for me, it's just like cook the thing until it's not like, it's definitely not pink, and then that's good enough. So for me, I would always end up overcooking my meat growing up. I would always end up overcooking it because I can't really tell where that balance is. So that's another thing that I struggle with, at least. And it's probably something that I can just overcome with practice and experience, but it's always been a bit of a challenge for me specifically to like find that exact coloring. So I have to like extra pay attention when I'm cooking. But you know, I don't really have anything that I want to specifically commit to right now. And that's kind of what you have to do on YouTube. Like I said, you have to find a niche, grow in that niche, stick to it. And then if you get big enough, that's when you can spread out, right? That's like the traditional way of doing YouTube. There are other exceptions, of course, but that's like the traditional way, right? And now I'm kind of finding that spot where it's like, okay, now I have to like pick a new niche and get big, or like, and then like work on it, right? So for me, cooking would be like, the thing is, it also depends on like how big the niche is and how good you can get at it. So for example, let's say like Fire Emblem. I said Fire Emblem, Pokemon, and cooking, right? So Fire Emblem is a game series. It's a strategy RPG, basically like anime chess, if you haven't heard of it. If you know like the guys from Super Smash Bros., Marth, Ike, Roy, it's those guys, right? I play that game series, love that game series. It's my favorite game series, love it. If I made a channel dedicated completely to Fire Emblem, I think I could get, like, if I just solo focus on Fire Emblem, I think I could get pretty decent, and relatively popular enough to maybe make a living off it. But it's a somewhat small niche, I'm not gonna lie. It's somewhat small. IDV was also somewhat small, but, you know, I was able to grow it far past what I thought I would. But Fire Emblem, I don't see myself going past, like, you know, 20k subs, right? For Pokemon, I could see myself getting to 100k within like a year and a half, right? If I like full dedicated myself to Pokemon, I could get 100k in a year and a half. I think so. Like, that's the thing as well. I'm also confident in my YouTube skills enough to grow it to a point to the fact that I could be able to be financially stable in it. My issue is more in the... It's less about the money, I guess, is the thing, and it's more about being proud of something that I can create. I think that's what I'm really talking about here. Money is a temporary concern. My passion behind my work is my long-term concern. Like, the money right now is a short-term concern. I'm in an okay situation for probably till the end of 2026, if I'm being real with you guys. But after that, if I'm still in this transition period by like 2027, that's like, okay, something's not right here. But until 2026 is over, I think I'm fine. Definitely wouldn't be in a good spot, but until 26 is over, I think it's fine. 2027, if I'm still in this like limbo area, then I really, really gotta like get to work or find a job, like just a part-time job out there that I can help support myself while I'm still working on new things. But you know, it's like if I did Pokemon, like I said, I could get to a certain spot. But I also don't know if I want to commit to Pokemon, right? That's the thing. And then for cooking, it's a really big niche, and there are so many different ways to do cooking. And it's kind of funny because I did a video the other day that got like 70k views. It was just like make a sandwich with a funny, not fitting music in the background. That got like a lot of attention. Obviously, it was a 1-minute video, fast edited. So, you know, of course it's going to get views. It just got lucky. And it's like, that's not really the type of cooking content I'd want to create in the first place, but I think it could like open that door, you know? So it's like, you know, 70k views within like, you know, a week and a half. That's pretty good for just a random video on a daily channel. That's the thing. I started a daily channel as well. Just kind of been doing whatever, you know, just kind of trying out something new each day. Maybe just playing a game here, you know, opening some merch that I had here. Just like something small each day, just to try something new. I did a bug hunt, hunted for bugs, made that sandwich. Might do a few more cooking shorts on that. I say shorts, like not shorts, YouTube shorts, but just shorts as in like short-based content. Not short, small, bite-sized video, actual 16:9 ratio content, not YouTube shorts. Something that wouldn't go in the shorts tab on YouTube, under the videos tab. Don't like shorts, not a fan of shorts. But yeah, you know, I could definitely, you know, get into a niche, do that thing. But this is also something I was feeling while I was still doing IDV content. And that is the fact that on YouTube, I still don't feel like I've really found what I really, really want to do at the end of the day. I have a main channel, but I don't upload videos on it because I don't know what I want to do still. I think my biggest passion is obviously gaming, but I don't know if I want that to be my biggest thing. Because I think what I want my biggest thing to be is, I guess, something that I feel proud of leaving behind. And all my other things to be side projects. I don't really know how to explain it other than that. But, you know, I've seen like creators, I guess, for example, like Speed. I've seen Speed. I don't really watch Speed's content, but I've seen Speed do like, you know, world tours and whatnot. I think that'd be really cool. Obviously, it's like insanely expensive, but I think that'd be really cool, doing like traveling based content, or maybe even like super deep dives into like ultimate deep dive, like video type essay things. For example, there's this series called Del Toro Quest that's like relatively niche, and I think I know so much about Del Toro Quest that I could make an insanely long, like 4-hour video long essay about Del Toro Quest and like recapping the whole story, all of the merch, all of the games, all of the anime, the OVAs, everything. Like, I know so much about Del Toro Quest, and I think it could be really fun to make like a super big video on something like that. But then it's just like, I don't know, it just comes down to like, what do I really want to leave behind, you know? What kind of ideas do I not want to take to the grave, kind of thing, you know? That's the thing. And there's quite a few ideas that I want to try as well. Like, I have a series that I want to do on this channel, like an art-related series that'll probably, hopefully, start in June, which is very soon, at the time of recording. Because I've always had a really big passion for art, and I love art, but I don't really feel like an artist, and I don't really feel like I have the, what is it? I don't really feel like I have any, like an artist eye at all. Like I say I like art, but I can't really say that beyond much of a surface level. Like I know when I see art that like really speaks to me and I'm like, oh, I really like this. But I feel like in terms of like, you know, traditional art or like art history or like famous artists from the past, I don't really know much about that, right? And I don't really know how to draw. I don't really know like the traditional way of all these things. And I know, of course, when it comes to art, there really is no right way, a lot of people will say. But, you know, it's just something that I want to actually dedicate and learn more. So I guess that kind of goes to a skill building type thing that I'm talking about here. Kind of like with the cooking, I still need to like build up a skill. And so building up a skill is something that I find to be very, very fun. Even though if I don't know what I'm doing, I think it's still very fun. But it's also when you're in that skill building stage, the content you can create from that is kind of awkward. And then finding the balance between creating content on a skill that you're trying to get better at is very awkward, because then you have to think about producing results when getting into things like drawing and cooking aren't always about producing results, but rather learning. And so I think that's very difficult to produce content on, because I don't think a lot of people want to see people learn something. I think a lot of people want to see people produce results. And I think the only thing where learning ever becomes interesting is if you're interested in the personality of the content creator, or you're watching a big long video about a journey where someone finally is able to produce results. And I think that's very difficult to get a balance for, is to like, you know, produce said results, but also still have fun with it, you know? Because like, I've already found with my daily channel, it's like, some days I just don't want to upload a daily video, or I just like, oh, I just didn't have an idea, let me just do this, you know? It's like, but some days I also feel very passionate. It's like, oh, I really want to do this idea today. But because I called it daily, it's like, okay, well now I got to commit to it. But I think it's also, it's like, I find different things. It's like, I'm forcing myself into it. But at the same time, I see it as a challenge, you know, like for the daily channel, it's like, oh, you know, sometimes I don't have an idea for it today, but it also forces me to think creatively, or a cop-out, to be fair, but it forces me to at least think about like, what can I get done today? How can I challenge myself today to come up with a new type of content, you know? That's what I think about it like. And that's why I really wanted to do the daily channel, was just to force myself to keep creating and not to put myself in a rut. That's why I did it. Because I didn't want to grow like complacent at all. I wanted to keep trying new things. And I think that for now, at least, it's a good challenge to keep up for a little while. Maybe not entirely forever, but for a while, I think that's what I'd like to do. Like for recently, I just, you know, I'm really bad at rhythm games. I finally was able to full combo a Hatsune Miku song on my 3DS the other day. So that was pretty cool. I felt really proud about that. So I put that on the daily channel. That was fun. You know, I was able to beat one of Terraria's hardest bosses by cheesing it with some friends. IRL friends, of course, the ones on the podcast previously, Little Rookie and Emmy. But yeah, I made the sandwich, started learning some katakana, went on the bug hunt. Like I said, just different stuff each day. Revisited some old childhood games like Run 2 and Meebling, some cool math games. You know, just silly stuff like that. And I don't know. When I was talking about going back to like specifically that like skill building thing, it's the problem that I've had ever since I was a young kid, and that was the fact that I never really knew what I wanted to do, and that's why I became a YouTuber. Well, I mean, I did want to become a computer scientist at one point, but I also had other ideas as well. Like I thought I'd become an animator, thought I could become a marine biologist. There was like quite a few things that I was like really, really interested in. I was like interested in so many different things. That's the problem, is like in life, you're kind of just forced to pick a path. And it's a little sad because I don't feel like I want to, you know? And you kind of have to. But then I saw a video, I think it was by Hank Green or something, and he was like, he never really called himself like a creator or whatever. He didn't like put labels on himself. I think his video was like, I'm just gonna work on a project, learn about that project, and do that project, and then showcase that project, and that is me. Like, I don't need to be a YouTuber, I don't need to be a businessman, I don't need to be this or that. I'm just going to find a project, work on it, do it, and that's what I am for now, is I just am the things that I create, but that doesn't mean I'm one specific thing. And it's like, I like that idea, but it's also, at the state that I am in now, it's kind of hard to do that, because it's like, oh man, I sure would love to do art-related content, but then the algorithm is like, ha ha ha, you upload art video today? And you upload gaming video tomorrow? That's 2 different audiences. Now I'm confused. Now it is time to explode and give you 2 views forever and all time. So that's kind of what algorithms do. That's the thing, is you gotta counter the algorithm. But, you know, I think what I really need to start doing is experimenting. I think that's where I'm going with this, is I really need to start experimenting. You know, just experimenting with the daily channel, trying out new things, seeing if I can come up with any ideas that I find to be fun. But I also need to experiment with, I think finally it's time to not move on from YouTube, but like also add to YouTube. I hate freaking Twitter. I despise Twitter. It's the most miserable platform I've ever seen in my entire life. Every time I go on there, I get depressed. But I feel like I need to use it more often, at least in this transitional period. Quick aside, even though this entire video is just quick asides that are just all wrapped into one thing. I should be promoting myself more on Twitter and other and Discord, because I have a server for IDV and my cartoon channel, and I have a twitter.com. And I should be promoting myself more on there. I just don't. I just find it like so unorganic to not do that. I don't know. That's something that I did when I grew my IDV channel, is I grew it organically and I didn't really promote it that much. I didn't promote it at all for like 2 weeks actually. Outside of like maybe I think I dropped like a couple videos in their official Discord, and that was about it. Only got me like 2 bonus views, so it barely was anything, right? But I didn't really promote any of it. And it's like, I feel so awkward promoting myself, but that's kind of what you have to do on YouTube, but I just don't really like doing it. And so I haven't really been doing it, even though I probably could be getting a few more views by promoting myself. I'm just not really doing it. Maybe I need to, I don't know. Thing is, I think I need to open up a Twitch and maybe a TikTok. I really don't like shorts content. I know that's kind of like what the future has been, but I don't like shorts content, bro. I just don't. It's just not me. I don't have fun creating it. It feels so brainless. I feel like I lose brain cells while watching shorts content, and I don't really want to contribute to that environment. And I know there are some very fascinating shorts out there. Like my friend has showed me plenty of like science related shorts that I find to be very intriguing actually. But I'm talking about the shorts landscape as a whole. Just feels truly, it feels so brainless. It's so brain rot, and it's just like, I don't feel like I gain anything from it, right? Where I find like a video, I'm not trying to like have that moral high ground of like, oh, the long-term videos are more sophisticated, but they just feel more engaging, I guess. It's probably just a personal preference thing, but I just really don't like shorts content that much. As a general, you know, form of content, you know, that's not to say I dislike shorts, like a short in and of itself, but I just dislike kind of how the environment of shorts is, because, you know, imagine you work so hard on a passion project, so hard, you research so much, you edit so much, you upload the video, and it gets hardly any attention after you've worked on it so hard, so hard. And then freaking shorts creator comes over here, and it's just like conventionally attractive person looks in the camera, has the most whatever caption you'll forget about after you scroll 3 times, and it has 3 million likes. And it's like, bruh, cool. Like, that's what people want to see now, I guess. Not everybody, of course, but, you know, it's just kind of sad, you know, because I don't really find that type of content to be intriguing. And it's a little sad because a lot of my passion projects are things that I don't even think I would watch nowadays, but it's something that I would it's a lot of things that I just envisioned myself doing when I was a creator and when I was younger. Like, for example, on my archive channel specifically, this is just where I upload random gameplay or whatever. What I did there was I just did a boss battle series for Dragon Quest IX. I emulated the game, so I made it look really, really nice. I love Dragon Quest IX. And I went through all the main story bosses with my team. I used Lucina from Fire Emblem. You can customize your own characters. I made Lucina my main character from Fire Emblem because I think Lucina's really cool. I did Tao Mengyan from Paper Bride, since she was a really cool character from Paper Bride. I did Melee from IDV because that was my favorite IDV character. And then I did Stark from Freerun, since Stark is like, I love Stark, bro. Stark is like the best character from Freerun. I love Stark. I don't know, I enjoy my like hero warrior archetype character like Stark. And I enjoy like Marth or whatever. I guess I don't know how to describe them. They're just kind of like the gentle soul type people that will fight. I don't know. I'm going on another tangent. Anyways, I did like a little boss battle series there. And I had really a lot of fun with it, creating it. Like, I made sure all my characters were in, like, fun outfits. I made sure to use fun, unique skills. I didn't just, like, DPS my way through. I used fun skills, fun outfits. And I grinded like different skills, and I wanted to make them like fun. And I was like, man, as a kid, I would have loved to do this, but they get 0 views. And I think that's another thing, is like balancing out passion projects with projects that will get views. And I'm kind of only really focused on like passion projects right now because I just don't have any passion. You know, my passion was ripped away from me when IDV started using Gen AI, because all my passion was going into that. So to have that just ripped away, I'm kind of just chasing something to find something to be passionate about. And it's really difficult right now because on the current scape of YouTube and content creation as a whole, AI is just everywhere. And I've talked about AI on this channel before, back when it was not nearly as prevalent. But, you know, I remember talking about like the AI scare a couple of years ago on this channel. And now it's like we're living in like what feels like the worst timeline where, you know, people are just, these stupid billionaires are like, oh, it is time to shove AI down everybody's throats. Hello, graduates. I am big CEO man. I have all the money from all the stuff that you have given me. Hello, college students that are broke. All your money is mine. Ha, ha, ha. I love real estate. College is just real estate. I sure do love AI that will replace all of you guys. Don't you guys just love AI? By the way, you're not allowed to use AI on your essays or at all, which should be fine. Obviously, they shouldn't use AI in freaking essays. But I don't know. I really hate AI. I really, really hate AI. You know, I just hate it. I despise it. And it's kind of sad that, like, that's just the world that we live in. You know, that's just the world that we live in. That's just AI. I think it's really cool that there's a lot of people that counter it, though. I really think it is. I genuinely do. But, you know, it's like, I think the worst of it all, what I'm trying to get at here, is that I have wanted to be a content creator for years, ever since I was a kid. And now the content creation sphere is just so different that there's a part of me that doesn't know if I want to do it anymore. Like, what if I just want to go just live a simpler life, I guess? Because like I said, the hate that I got from the IDV community, that hurt, bruh. It really hurt. The constant comparisons, the constant, you know, criticisms, the constant, you need to be better, the constant, it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just bad experiences, but like, it's also the fact that like so many people out there are just rotten. Like there are plenty of streamers, I'm not going to name any, but like that are just like clearly just not good people, and they're still making content. And at the end of the day, like, as well, maybe it's definitely changing, but YouTube also isn't a very respected job either. And I think it's like a little sad, because I feel embarrassed to tell people that I'm a YouTuber. When I meet new people, I don't tell them that. I don't really like to, like, people my age find it fascinating. They're like, oh, you're a YouTuber? That's so cool. Can you tell me about your stuff? And I think that's really interesting. But I went to a wedding the other day, and, you know, they knew I was a YouTuber, so I had to tell them about it. But I could barely describe it. Like, I've been ranting about YouTube for 52 hours like it's nothing. But when I'm forced to talk about it in like as my job in a professional situation, I freeze up. I don't know what to say. I'm just like, I just do what I think is fun. Like, they were asking me about all these questions, and I just couldn't answer any of them. And I think it's just because I think at my core, I'm just kind of embarrassed to tell people that I'm a YouTuber. Because you look at people's comments, and they're just like, stay in your lane, you know? Know your place. You're just a dirty, rotten YouTuber that just, you know, is the scum of society, basically. You're not, it's not a real job. You just make videos, you know? You don't work hard like the rest of us. And it's something that really does bug me as well is, I think this was specifically just for streaming. And I'm not fully disagreeing with this. I want to preface this. I'm just bringing this up to bring up discussion. But if you guys know, there's a big streamer, Queso. He's a very famous streamer. Don't really watch his content, but he seems like a great guy. I've seen some clips. I've seen like a couple of his streams. You know, great guy, very friendly. Really good vibes, right? But I remember there's this one clip that people bring up with him about him saying like, oh, streaming is the easiest job in the world. Like, don't let anybody else tell you it's not. Streaming is so easy. And then there were so many people like, I'm so glad that, like, this guy is so honest. and that he's really true about how streaming is like the easiest job in the world. And I think to a degree, I think streaming is quite easy, yes. But I also think there's the fact that like there's a few things that people aren't considering, and that's that when you are streaming and you have an audience, it's easy. When you don't have an audience, it is quite challenging to build one. It is not easy because there's a lot of information that you have to learn, obviously. And a lot of the time, some people just aren't cut out for it. And for me, I think, weirdly enough, at my core, I don't think I'm cut out for it. I keep doing it because I'm passionate, but I really don't think I'm cut out for it. I don't feel like I have a personality that gravitates people towards me. I don't feel like I am engaging enough. I don't really feel like the things that I produce are worthy of like being more than just silly, fun passion projects. I don't really see them as anything grander than that. And I guess that also just kind of like goes back to like what I was depressed at, but it's also like, I guess it's like, oh, streaming is so easy. But it's then why I don't feel fulfilled from it though. I guess like at a personal level, I don't really feel like fulfilled from the things that I'm creating. I want to feel fulfilled, but I don't feel fulfilled from that. And I think, you know, when you grind so hard, it's like, I feel like it depends on what you do, because for Queso, I know he like just kind of streams for a few hours every day, and then he has editors like do his YouTube stuff, right? And I was like, he can do that because he's big, but like when you're smaller and you have to do everything yourself, and you also want to do so many different things, I feel like it can't just be, oh, it's easier, just bottom feeder, right? Because I put in so many hours. And obviously, I don't want to say just because of how many hours you put in, it doesn't mean anything, you know? But I put in so many hours on so many different projects, because I am a content creator, but I do so many different things. Obviously, it's mostly focused on gaming, but I focus on so many different projects. And so when people kind of like lump me into that same comment that is like, oh, it is so easy, but then it's like I still have to, I guess the right word is just deal with like how do you, if it's so easy, then like what about dealing with all the criticism? There's a lot of comments that get under my skin because I'm very passionate about the things that I create, and then when I see criticism that I don't feel to be justified, that gets under my skin. Or when I see people that take my words out of context or make up false allegations about me, it just gets really, really frustrating. It's like, how do you deal with that when the only way, when you defend yourself, you become the bad guy because you bring attention to it because you're the one with the big audience, so you have to be responsible. And it's like, oh, you can't defend yourself because you're a big audience. You're hating on the small creator because you're the big one. You made them anonymous? No, you actually know. Because you're big, everybody's gonna just track them down and find them. And so you can't, it comes down to the point where you can't defend yourself, so you just kind of have to like let the comments just sit there and get to you. And that's kind of what I've learned. Like, that's just what you have to do as a creator. You just have to deal with it. But that's not easy. For me, at least. And that's why I don't think I'm cut out for it. That's why I think like maybe it's just better to do a more simpler life and then just like get like some job somewhere else and then just work on, or like do gaming back as like a passion. I don't know, maybe that's not something I'm doing like right now. I'm not going to just do that. I still have a lot of things I want to do on YouTube, but there's a part of me that's now speaking and I don't feel like was there a couple of years ago. There's now that seed of like, do I really want to do this anymore? Which if you asked me 2 years ago, I never would have said no. But now that seed is just like, it's there. You know, it's there. And that kind of just makes me feel lost. I guess that's the biggest way to say it. I guess that's the biggest thing that I'm feeling, is I'm feeling quite lost right now. Is I don't really know what the next move is. Obviously, I've been through stages like this before. This is like the third time, basically. It's just that this is, I think, the biggest version of it. And that feeling of being lost in life is very annoying. I think it's quite common in your 20s to feel quite lost. But that's just kind of where I'm at. And it's a shame because I just see a lot of other people, friends and whatnot, you know, they're getting married. They have successful, stable jobs. They're satisfied. They're happy. They seem quite fulfilled. And then to like have me, myself, who just had a job and now I have to throw that all away. You know, it's not the same. It's like, obviously there's a whole, like, the job security and all that. Job market's tough. People are getting fired a lot. And I know this is just, like, a specifically me situation. There are definitely 10 billion people that have it worse. Okay, there's not even 10 billion people alive. There's a lot of people that have it worse, right? I'm not gonna say that I don't have it worse. I think this is more of just a struggle with my own personal journey rather than it is like something that's super bad. Because I think when one door closes, another one opens, kind of thing. And it's not to say I haven't had a fresh outlook on a lot of things. Like having a break from the IDV community has definitely been great, honestly, in more ways than one. That community was very, very stressful in a lot of ways. And if I'm being honest with you, I've never felt more at peace in the last like month than I have than being away from that game and that community because of the just constant, never-ending demand for perfection from a lot of the people there. So I guess that's one really good thing about it. And I guess it also just makes me a little bit scared. It's like, what about the next community? Is the next community going to be worse? Is the next community going to be similar? Is there going to be a constant need for perfection? I don't know. Either way, I know I've been ranting a lot today, but I do still have a lot of hopes, I guess, for the future, I guess, of making content. It's just that I want to be able to create something that I'm proud of and that I'm fulfilled, that I feel fulfilled by, and that I'm okay with leaving behind after I perish. I don't know. It just kind of makes me think a little bit about the future. Anyways, that was a long rant. That was definitely a long rant. I just went to go get water, and now I kind of lost my train of thought, so I don't know. Is that everything I wanted to talk about? I think there's definitely a lot more stuff that I wanted to discuss, but maybe that's good enough for now. I don't know. I think I really wanted to, I really want to put my nose to the grindstone and really work hard at something again, but I feel like I really lack that passion right now. And it's kind of sad because I keep wanting to do things, but I don't feel like I have the energy to do them. And it's like, why bother? What's the point? And I think it's like, that's just sad, you know? That's just kind of sad. As somebody who, it's like, I think back to like, kid me, and it's like, man, he really wanted to do all these things. And now I'm just like here, and I finally have the opportunity. I'm a full-time content creator, and I'm just like, what's the point? And it's just like, that's why I think in one of my videos, when I was sick, I was talking about how I was like revisiting things from my childhood. I guess I'm just trying to like kind of find that passion once again. I think that's the biggest thing. Is I really want to find something to be passionate about again. Because I don't really have that right now, or at least like enough to make videos on it. I guess I'm passionate about many things, but to find something new to really commit myself to, I think that's what I really need to find. Especially in like a YouTube thing. There are still other things I want to do outside of YouTube. I want to do more writing. I want to do more art. I would like to brush up on my programming skills again. I would like to start learning Japanese again, because I took it in high school. There's a lot of things I'd like to do as well. I'd like to do more cooking, like I said, do more reading. I'm thinking about getting some plants soon, so I'd like to do some gardening. I don't know. There's so many things that I'm interested in life, and I want to continue exploring them. But right now, I guess the best thing, and maybe this isn't the right decision, but I think it's okay to just be sad for a little bit. And I guess this is one last thing that I'll touch on is, I guess as somebody who's constantly wanting to work, I feel myself in a really awkward situation because I feel like I need to allow myself time to breathe, but also there's the sneaking thing in the back of my head that's like, you have to make money. You're wasting your time every single day. And it's hard to find the balance of like, can I rest for a little bit without having to worry about, money or running out of time, kind of thing. That's something that you're gonna be. If you're in your 20s, you'll know it well. If you're not in your 20s yet, that's like the two biggest worries. Is there biggest one is there enough time to do X, and two is, do I have enough money to live/do X? Those are like the two biggest things for me specifically, I think. And right now, both of those are two big worries. And I cannot just sit around. I have to like create again. And it's like I'm already trying to push myself, and I don't think I've given myself enough time to like go through a cycle of a reset. So I don't know. I think I'll keep pushing myself for now, but if I see myself burning out or something, I'm gonna have to maybe slow down a little bit, and then I can speed up again. I guess right now I'm just gonna try to find my footing while continuing to challenge myself at the same time. That's how I've always done it, and I've always kind of pushed through, but we'll see. I guess this is kind of something I have to kind of figure out as the next few months pass us by here. But yeah, this was a nice rant. Got some stuff off my chest. And hopefully future podcasts can be a little more fun. A little more engaging. Maybe I can talk about some of my other passions or something like that. We'll figure it out. We'll definitely figure it out. I've been through worse. I've definitely been through worse. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little sad. But I think that's okay. I think that's okay for now. Anyways, thanks for listening. I think I'm gonna go ahead and head on out here. I'm not gonna waste any more of your time. If you listen to the whole gosh darn thing, thanks. Like, seriously, thanks. I appreciate it. Because I'm sure you got plenty of stuff to worry about in your life. And what the heck? I just, like, dumped all this stuff on you? That's not cool, bro. Yeah, whoever did that, I'm gonna beat them up. Time to beat myself up, right? Yeah, bro. Anyways, just take care of yourself out there as well. I'll be doing the same for myself. So, we'll be okay. We'll get past this. Life goes up and down. This is just one of the downs for now. It'll go back up soon. We can only hope. All right, no more wasting time. I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching again. Bye-bye.